Welcome to the Badger Den. It has been a rough 24 hours, not just for me, but of course everybody dealing with the Epstein stuff. We've got several stories to get into, specifically about immigration and how illegal immigration impacts your life and you're not even realizing it. We're also going to look, of course, at the Epstein files and a quick update on that, as well as some good news. Fauci behind bars, hopefully. Go Rand Paul. So first up, violent leftists attacked federal agents during immigration raids at California pot farms. Yeah. And who were they employing besides just illegals? Immigration raids at two Glass House Farms, a state-licensed marijuana facility that is allegedly employing illegal immigrants, including children, according to Fox News. Approximately 60 miles northwest of downtown LA, around 500 protesters arrived to confront federal authorities. The standoff quickly turned violent as federal agents attempted to disperse the crowd with smoke canisters, and news helicopter video captured the moment when one man appeared to fire a handgun at authorities. Couple of things to note about this. How did that crowd get there so quick? Again, they've got those apps now where they are informing illegals and their little La Raza groups and their NGO teams to get out there and attack ICE agents immediately. They are trying to protect illegals to damage everybody else. If you've seen the footage, it is quite interesting. Trump has made a statement about this to where if you are impacting ICE agents, you will be arrested. He's not going to just say, okay, ICE, you're just going to have to disperse the crowd and go, make them go away and do your job. Trump has now come out and said, nope, you do this, you will be arrested. ICE will arrest you. ICE will take you and throw you in with those buddies that you want to hold dear, those illegal immigrants that are potentially rapists and apparently also child slave laborers. 10 juveniles were found at this marijuana facility. All illegal aliens, 8 of them unaccompanied minors. There's been an update. Nope. Looks like there were 14 minors who were unaccompanied. Just those that were those were slave laborers. That's right, Dems. Those blue-haired wannabes. You guys are protecting slave labor. Congratulations. You are part of the problem. Are you on the right side of history yet? 361 illegals were confirmed there and detained and will thankfully be kicked out of the country. How do you defend this? Federal judge orders Trump men to halt immigration operations without probable cause in California. So again, you had SCOTUS say, no, district court judges, you cannot do nationwide bans on the Trump administration. So this one has wisened up. This one does have some sticking power, and this one will have a bit of an issue. A federal judge issued a preliminary injunction on July 11th, temporarily blocking the Trump admin from carrying out immigration stops and arrests in LA without probable cause. Decision by District Judge Mame Ishwa Mishna Frompong. Yeah, sounds like she's from here. Followed a lawsuit brought by illegal immigrant advocacy groups, which accused the administration of targeting people in Southern Cal based on their race and of arresting people without a warrant amid the federal government's ongoing efforts to end illegal immigration. 52-page ruling, the judge ordered the Department of Homeland Security to stop detaining people based on their race, spoken language, or accent, occupational presence in specific locations, such as bus stops. Frimpong stated that the admin failed to provide the basis for any of the immigration stops and arrests carried out during the enforcement operations, stating that they lacked reasonable suspicion and the individuals targeted were illegal immigrants. The factors that defendants appeared to rely on for releasable suspicion seemed no more indicative of illegal presence in the country than of legal presence, such as working at a low-wage occupation, such as a car wash attendants and day laborers. This is insufficient and impermissible and is the proper subject of an injunction. Homeland Secretary Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said the judge was undermining the will of the American people with the recent ruling. The suit, which alleges that the immigration raids violate the Fourth Amendment and the Fifth Amendment rights of thousands of people, was brought on July 2nd by multiple civil and immigration rights groups, including the American Civil Liberties Union and Foundation of Southern California. Just a couple things to note about this. This is a potential issue. If you are going into a business that has probable cause and you're rounding up people, you do have to kind of have some sort of legitimacy to do that. Like that's You have to have something. If you are just rounding up people on the street in a public area, you've got a bigger issue because you have to have some sort of legal ground to grab that person. That's reasonable suspicion, articulable reasonable suspicion to detain somebody and question them. If somebody's just walking down the street at a bus stop speaking Spanish, legally ICE cannot do anything. And that's what this judge is pinning this case on. And there is some legal grounds on this. So this objection might have some serious teeth. The only way I think that you can get around this is just to go to SCOTUS and SCOTUS to finally rule that if you are not a citizen of the United States, these protections do not apply to you. There is some legal precedents that state that no, that isn't grounds for it. However, there are some amendments that do exactly pronounce that you must be a citizen in order for these rights to apply. This goes back specifically to the Civil War, freeing the slaves and the children of the slaves to state, no, you are a citizen, your children are citizens, and therefore you're protected. So there are legal standings on both amendments in the actual Constitution and on President's side saying that, well, if you're inside the country, you're protected by all the protections that the Constitution grants you, whether you're a citizen or not. If this goes to the Supreme Court, this could, and it does go the side that you must be a citizen, this would have huge, fantastic ramifications for all illegals in the country to basically say, guess what? You don't get due process, get the F out. Why is this so important? I'm glad you asked. This goes back to last year. U.S.-born workers lost more than 1.3 million jobs over the last year, while foreign-born workers gained more than 1.2 million. That's right. Illegals were getting all the jobs over the last 4 years. How does that impact you? Upset yet? Bloomberg, again, left-wing publication, admits illegals were leaving and jobs are opening up. Illegals being kicked out of government welfare, federal welfare, is also making illegals want to leave the country. Again, there was a recent research publication that showed that approximately, potentially, 1 million illegals have already left the country. Fantastic. There are currently, right now, as of today, 1.8 million plus discouraged workers. These are people who have given up looking for work. Almost 2 million plus if you look at people who are part-time workers and want full-time work. I believe it's closer to 3 million if you factor those people in who want to work and cannot work. Illegals, this is coming directly from the Democrats, admit that 7% of the workforce, 11.5 million job holders, are held by illegals. That is correct. You have 11.5 million jobs that should be going to Americans. Illegals earn more per hour than American counterparts. Yes, this blew my mind, and this is 100% accurate. This has come from research done in Houston, Texas, California, and New York, specifically looking at low-skilled job laborers. So if you look at construction in Texas, the average American gets paid $22 an hour, while an illegal gets paid 19%. You're like, oh, but I thought you said illegals make more. They do. That $22 is gross, not counting taxes. Illegals do not pay taxes. So if I am hiring somebody and I have to pay them $22, or I can pay an illegal $19 an hour, who do you think I'm going to hire if I am an unscrupulous business person and I just need to get the job done and make more money and keep 15% of that person's wages in my own pocket? That's right. You're going to be hiring the illegal. You're not going to be hiring an American. For those Americans that are hired, they actually make $17.60 compared to the illegal making $19. Yep. The illegal is now making 15% more than the American. You heard that right. The illegals are making more than the Americans regarding actual take-home pay going into your pocket supporting your family, which equates to $35,000 versus $38,000. Yeah. Total wage suppression across nationwide. So this is 5 to 6%. It's actually higher than that because you can tell right here when you get to low skilled, it's actually 15% wage suppression. If you look at nationwide, so this is encompassing all jobs, as you get to more and more skilled labor, that cost continues to reduce itself. Once you get to like high school or post-secondary, so college, you're looking at 5 to 6%. And so the further you go up, so you're getting to highly skilled labor, you're getting college, post-secondary school, you're looking at closer to 1% wage suppression. So everybody is being impacted with reduced wages due to illegals taking jobs from Americans. Keep that in mind. Epstein updates. So, how can you say that it is an Epstein issue when it is not an Epstein issue? Well, you look at people who really love Israel more than America, and they go nuts screaming that don't look over at Israel. It's not the Mossad. Trust us, it's not the Mossad. And so you've got little Ben Shapiro going nuts screaming it isn't Mossad. Quit accusing. You've got no evidence it is the Mossad. Except little Ben ignores the fact that key Mossad agents and Israeli prime ministers constantly met with Epstein. Yeah. So explain that to us, little Ben. Not to mention that DOJ prosecutors were told to back off due to Epstein being an agent of the CIA, agent of the Mossad, a double agent. We're not allowed to know, guys. Rhinos and Republicans now blocking the release of the Epstein files. Why is that, guys? What are you doing? You scared? You scared that we're going to find out and you're going to get tossed into a wood chipper? Let it out there, man. Let it all hang out there. Let's throw the Clintons. Let's throw whatever rhino pops up. Let's throw them all in the wood chipper. Let's clean house. Tucker's cost grows. So Tucker continues to point out, and he's trumpeting this, that if the information ever gets released, that it would so undermine Israel and the U.S.'s administration, it could potentially destroy the government. I don't think so. I mean, realistically, we're going to clean house. We're going to throw a bunch of people in a wood chipper, and we're going to march on. Tucker's a smart man. He's got a lot more experience than me, of course. He's been in the world and been in the swamp, and he has dealt with these type of people. Maybe he truly, Tucker seems like a very outright honest person, and I've got no reason not to doubt that he truly believes that. And if it does, then maybe this implicates more and shows more about the corruption in the U.S. than me and you are even considering. Maybe you out there are considering, be like, man, Ryan, your tinfoil hat is not on tight enough. You're missing out. A new theory has now emerged that the flip-flop that you're seeing with Trump regarding the Moderna vax being authorized, the Ukrainian flip-flop where he's now sending missiles, and NVIDIA chips now being ready sent to China, that this flip-flop shows that the deep state is so potent and so powerful that Trump is scared that him and his family could indeed be killed. The Butler assassin, still no information coming out on that. The Secret Service agents that were associated with both botched attempts at President Trump's life are not being seriously punished. They're not being fired. They're being reprimanded, putting on administrative leave, not being fired for their lack of duty and just absolutely falling apart under the heat of this battle. Like, really? Fire them. But apparently they're not being fired. So a lot of weird things happening that don't quite make sense. And it makes some people think that either Trump is compromised or that the deep state really is so powerful that they will kill him and his family if he exposes them. Plausible. I mean, you get to a man's family and his children, he's willing to do just about anything to protect them. The Badger theory. Again, I'm still touting that the information that is in there is just so good they don't want to give it up. They've now got just the juiciest tidbits to try to put leverage on people to get what they want done. I guess time will tell. And, of course, currently in the rumor mill, Bongino is back, man. It's apparently coming out that Bongino has not left the FBI despite throwing down a gauntlet against Pam Bondi and saying, hey, Pam, or Trump, it's either Pam or me. Pick it. And Trump picked Pam. And so now apparently something is happening where Bongino is like, okay, well, I'm going to keep going with what I'm doing and I'm going to stay with the FBI. And it's rumored that there's going to be more coming out of this. I hope Bongino stays. Bongino seems like one of the few true blue patriots that are in the White House that we can really trust. So I look to Bongino probably more than just about anybody else, given what he gave up. Him and Trump gave up a lot to do what they're doing. And for that, they have, lost money. They've lost a lot of respect, and they're being attacked. And it's like, why would you do that unless you truly believe that you can help America? So I give Bongino a lot of credit, And I looked at him as kind of a litmus or a canary in the coal mine. So I always like to leave with some good news. Rand Paul says, Fauci's back on the menu, boys. Rand Paul said on Monday that he planned to reissue a criminal referral to Fauci and send it directly to Trump's DOJ. Paul made the announcement via X after New York Times reports shed light on the number of pardons and commutations supposedly issued by former President Joe Biden that were signed with Autopen at the direction of Biden's chief of staff, Jeff Zients. According to the New York Times, a number of pardons, including so-called preemptive pardons for people like Fauci, Mark Milley, and members of Biden's family who have not actually been charged with crimes yet, were discussed at a meeting on January 19th. At the 19th meeting, which took place in the Yellow Oval Room of the White House residence, Biden kept his aides until 10 p.m. to talk through such decisions, according to people familiar with the matter. The email showed that an aide to Mr. Siskel sent a draft summary of Mr. Biden's decisions at that meeting to an assistant to Mr. Zients, copying Mr. Siskel at 10:03. The assistant forwarded it to Mr. Reed and Mr. Zients, asking for their approval, and then sent a final version to Mrs. Fieldman, copying many meeting participants and aides at 10:08. 3 minutes later, Mr. Zients hit reply all and wrote, I approve the use of the Autopen for the execution of all the following pardons. So, again, not Biden's approval, but his chief of staff's, Zients' approval to say, yeah, we're just going to get the old man's machine arm ready and just stamp those out and get them going. Again, this goes back to a couple of key notes regarding her and the Biden's doctor pleading the fifth. At what point in time can we draw a line saying that this is the point that his cognitive decline was so bad we can't even prosecute the man, and the doctor admitted that, yeah, I'm going to have to plead the fifth. He was cognitively compromised to the point where he could not be running the Oval Office. From that point forward, every action is illegitimate because he is not cognitively capable to make those decisions. Yep. I hope we see more of this. It needs to be opened up. Well, this is Mouthy signing off for today, guys.